Good morning. It's Friday, December 12th, 2014. This is Tech Talk Today, episode 105. We got a special episode planned for you today, so to help take you through that journey is our excellent Mumble Room. Time-appropriate greetings, Mumble Room.
Heyo.
Hello.
Greetings.
Good morning.
Hello,
Hello,
everybody. Hi. Hey there. So it's Friday, and it's Friday holiday season, and it's also the first Friday officially where Tech Talk Today has moved Tuesday to Friday. That's a lot of stuff at once. So I thought we would take advantage of this unique opportunity where it's just fresh on a Friday for Tech Talk. It's the holiday lull, and the stories are not that great. So let's play with the format a little bit. And this will just be something we do for a little while on Fridays to see what we like, make the Friday show a little special. And today, since the news is kind of slow, I kind of had like a master plan. I thought we'd look ahead with two news stories and then look back at two news stories from the Computer Chronicles archive, which I don't know, for some reason I just love doing. So let's start on this journey. Number one story that I thought was pretty interesting because it was a huge win for Microsoft back in the day. Ford is ditching the Microsoft Sync platform and is going with BlackBerry's QNX. Still feels weird to call it BlackBerry's QNX. So Sync 3 will roll out in vehicles in 2015, and it's not gonna be backwards compatible with existing Sync systems, and B, they're ditching the Microsoft system. And so here's a little info about it. The Ford's in-car infotainment system, known as Sync, will soon evolve to add capacitive touchscreens, better integration with smartphone apps, and eventually support for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay in version 3. That's kind of neat. Thanks to a switch of operating systems, after years of teaming with Microsoft, Ford has switched to BlackBerry's QNX, a real-time operating system renowned for stability. And actually, QNX seems like the perfect OS for this, too. It really has a good rep. Looking forward, though, Sync was sort of the big Microsoft platform. Honda has one sort of based off something similar, but they're also making a change. And now we see Land Rover, obviously Tesla, a lot of manufacturers. As the computer is coming to the car, it's not Microsoft. I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if QNX is the right operating system, but it's got a pretty good reputation. And I love that it supports both Android Auto and Apple's CarPlay. I think that's pretty neat, too. Sync's been around for a while, and they've had this new version under development now for 18 months. And they've been using input from 22,000 customers that have either tested it or just given them information. Cars with Sync 3 is what they're going to call it. Will also have a Wi-Fi receiver, which will be used to transmit updates, probably when it's parked in your garage. So currently, like with Sync 2 and 1, you have to update it over a USB flash drive. The Wi-Fi receiver will let drivers update the car's software using their home wireless network, and probably sync media, too. AppLink will give better control for the smartphone apps, too. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that the Sync QNX thing might be interesting because of the other platforms' compatibility. Because if you've used the current Sync, it is basically worthless. It's like it doesn't provide anything that's game changing or anything.
Yeah,
so
it's feeling old too when I've seen it. I mean, it was neat, and I think it just wasn't the right operating system. When that platform was too heavy. So I agree. I think it was a good move.
Yeah, and updating it is insanely just annoying. Like you basically don't even update at that point.
What were you gonna say, Lionhead?
Well, I just thought about that updating in your garage. Yeah, apartment complexes.
Yeah, there would have to be like some process where you join into the Wi-Fi, I think, right, and then authorize it or something. I'm more thinking like there has to be a system where it downloads and then requests to update, because the last thing you want to do to drivers is when they get in their car in the morning, turn the car on, and the UI is different. That's not going to fly.
I was thinking maybe you could do, like, if you're at an apartment, you could connect your phone to your Wi-Fi and then make your phone a hotspot to your car. That would sort of do it.
Yeah. There'll probably be a lot of ways. And then, also it's going to mean this is probably not just because of Ford Sync, but probably as more systems like this roll out, your local mom-and-pop auto mechanic shop's going to need to have Wi-Fi out in the garage so they can do updates and get download patches and things like that for your car when they're working on it. Going to have to get Wi-Fi out everywhere. I'm a little burned by this next story. It was my dream to get a maybe a 4K television for the studio in 2014 is sort of a congratulations, you made it to the studio, but budget-wise, it just didn't make any sense after I had to get some work done on the truck. And now maybe it was a good thing. Because screw 4K, let's go 8K. That's what LG says. LG wants to go 8K. I told you, these are stories we're looking ahead in the future here. And you're gonna hear more about this at CES for sure. In fact, this is essentially a pre-tease to CES. This is the first big CES pre-tease that I've seen. And 4K, who cares, man? You can get 4K for your PC. You can get Dell's got 4K monitors. Apple's got 5K iMac. Screw 5K. Yes, 8K is on its way, and LG is working on it. At CES, the company will be showing off a 55-inch display that boasts a staggering 33 million pixels, derived from a resolution of 7,680 by 4,320. It might not be immediately clear, but that's far more pixels than 4K. We're going to need more Ks, guys. 8K. Give me a break, right? Come on. We can't even get 4K compression right. Come on.
This is the bit wars on gaming consoles all over again.
Yeah. This just bugs me. I guess when it comes to TVs, I feel like I don't want them to hold back innovations. That'd be dumb. But at the same time, can you just promise me a 5-year window on my TV, please? Can you give me a solid 5 years? Because I went big. When I went to HD, I went big. I went and got a plasma Kuro when we built our house. It was plasma Kuro TV. It was one of the better ones you could get at the time. And then 3D comes along, and I'm like, oh, well, at least I don't really want 3D that much. But I'd be like, it kind of sucks. I spent a bunch of money on a Kuro, and now I've got no 3D. But that's fine. I don't need it. And then 4K comes along, and I'm like, all right, well, as a content creator, I mean, I do really would like things that look better, and I really like the way 4K. And then I'm looking at this, and it's a Kuro. Well, I'm about 6-7 years into it right now, so I suppose that's in my window. But I feel like TVs. Remember yesterday in yesterday's show, I talked about how TVs used to be like a piece of furniture in your home, and you would have these televisions forever. Like when I was a kid. They still were kind of pieces of furniture. My grandparents had this huge credenza-looking television with fake faux speaker covers that were like a fabric. Did anybody have one of these?
Yeah, we had some.
Yeah. And
we had the actual oak cabinet with the TV embedded in it solidly.
And some of them would even close up, right, and cover up the screen and have nice cabinet covers and. That was a 20-year television. Now I know that's unrealistic, but we haven't even gotten 4K on the market yet, and they're talking about 8K. It's exciting. I'd rather have 8K in the PC space, standardize on 4K for the broadcast space, because I feel like with X265 and a lot of technologies that are out there, we can get our heads around 4K. And we can actually deliver 4K, and I think there's a reasonable difference there. But 8K, that's just not going to happen.
Sorry, for the 8K, do we have the cameras to film that?
That's a great question. I don't know. How would you?
I think Red might.
Yeah, maybe, right? I guess they would have to. Somebody has to. Yeah, this is a way out there technology. This is way out there. That's another great point is 4K hasn't even really gotten down to great prosumer prices yet. It's getting closer. You can now, but yeah. I find it fascinating.
Maybe they're looking at the 8K as the TV you can buy now, and in 5 years from now, finally get to use it.
There is some serious practicality to having way more than 4K resolution on the desktop if you're editing 4K video. So the Apple iMac, for example, it's a 5K resolution. That's not a gimmick. Apple didn't make it 5K because it's one more better than 4. They made it 5K because then the Chrome of Final Cut fits full resolution, and then the 4K video fits full resolution in the editor. So that way you can edit your video at its native resolution and still have access to all of the Chrome around the video. That is so important because when you scale video up and down, it changes the way it looks when it's applying color effects, the way the machine renders it. All of that matters so much if you can edit it in the native resolution. So, and to that end, I could even see editing a 4K video on an 8K display because there's always, when you're doing video editing, there's always room for more stuff for the real-time color stuff, the real-time audio information, your bins. There's always necessary. There's always a need for more space. So I could see 8K on the PC side actually working pretty handedly, especially if you do pixel doubling or tripling or whatever it would require. On the TV side, though, I mean, Netflix is... I mean, look what we've just gone through in 2014 with Netflix trying to work with the ISPs to deliver 720p, and they can barely do it. I don't know. I just don't see it. But
plus the bandwidth it would need to do it.
Yeah, the cables to even deliver that signal. Just the cables. Like, even just local cables. Like, you can't carry 8K signal over HDMI. So like I said, this is a way out there story, but we're going to see it at CES. I wonder if we'll see other 8K displays at CES. That's going to be the exact opposite of what the holiday weeks are for Tech Talk today, where things are really slow and we can just take our time. When it comes to CES, it's gonna be crazy doing a daily show. I think that's gonna be fun though. That'll be the first CES for Tech Talk. I don't know. Yep. All right, so that was our looking ahead stories. So now let's go a couple of stories back. And there's two tracks we can take on this. Since we're talking about TVs, let's start with this first one. You may have heard for maybe even a decade now that it is possible to deliver broadband internet over the analog TV space. At least here in the U.S., I don't know where it is outside the U.S., but we've had the television stations clear out of that range of spectrum and move over to digital. And it's actually possible to deliver internet content over that opened up spectrum. And there's been a lot of different takes on how to do this. And I want to play for you. And I had a hard time I couldn't really find a lot about this because it's failed pretty hard. But this was a product that debuted, I think, in 1995. And the idea was you plug this modem for TV signals into your PC, and you can use it to send and receive data. And there's even a few ways where they could automatically send you stuff about the shows you were watching. It never went anywhere, but it shows you how long they've been tinkering with this idea. And I'll play just a couple minutes of it.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. While you struggle to slowly download big computer files on a phone line from your favorite cyber site, a gigantic potential data highway is sitting right in your home now, underutilized. It's called your TV antenna. And with a neat new gadget called Molokai, you can now use the broad bandwidth of a TV receiver to dump tons of data onto your PC. Hi, Wayne. Okay, this is the gadget, I guess, and basically it's just an ISA board that you slip into a PC slot.
It's an ISA board. It goes right into your PC, and it's made up really of just two chips here. These are the two primary things on the board. It also has a way to deliver video into it and a way to deliver video out of it.
So it's like a normal modem card, except instead of a phone line going in, it's a TV signal going in.
That's correct. And this particular one doesn't have a tuner in it, but it also could have a tuner on board, in which case we could deliver a regular RF signal right to the back of it.
All right, so show me what the interface looks like.
Okay, this is what the screen you might see if you first looked into the package, and really all this does is allow a consumer to decide how they want to interact with the data. And basically they've got three choices. Download everything that's on at a given point, don't download anything, or download things selectively as you...
All right, now this assumes that some TV station or several TV stations or networks are feeding data with their TV shows, right?
That's absolutely correct. It assumes that there is something that's coming down at all times, whether you can see it or whether it's invisible.
And what's the thing at the bottom?
The thing at the bottom is just a way that we can actually demarcate our hard drive so that we don't download too much data.
Okay, so I can say I want so much of my hard drive dedicated to automatically picking up stuff from
That's
the TV.
correct. And once you get to a certain point, you get near that point, you'll start getting warning messages that say to you, hey, you've got a little bit too much data in here now. Do you want to accept any more packages
Right, so
or not?
How do I know what's coming down?
Well, here's a good way to find out. Here's a data guide that we've got. You pick a network, in this case NBC. We go ahead and click on it. We click a particular show. There's a show. Here's some data that's coming down. We click on that. That puts it on our What's Coming list, and now we have, in fact, created a list of things that we want to come down. In this case, a Seinfeld interactive tour.
So while I was watching Seinfeld, the TV program, I was simultaneously feeding data into my PC that might have photos or backgrounds on Jerry and that kind of stuff.
That's correct. In this example, we wouldn't actually see the data. It would be coming down in the vertical blanking interval, so we wouldn't see it.
Show me the example of really dumping lots of software real fast using TV.
Okay, here's a good example. I'm just going to roll this tape right here. And
Superstore right now, we're going to show you a great product from Microsoft called Microsoft Publisher. It is item number 3337 here on the PC
So this is like a
Superstore.
kind of QVC example you're showing where you would be selling and delivering the software electronically.
That's correct. And you can see now, you're going to see he's showing off the product here. He's giving you a special price on the product. You're also going to see, if you come over to the other screen, you're going to see that we've already got messages that say, by the way, consumer, there's something coming down in a very short amount of time.
So some data message was hidden in the video signal already.
That's correct.
flyers and brochures and cards.
Just a second, after Greg gets done showing us around the product itself, he's now going to actually, once we've got a consumer interested in this, he's going to be able to deliver a demo version of that software very, very shortly.
And this is a selling example, but I mean, it doesn't have to be in a selling model, right? I mean, we could be sending software right now during Computer Chronicles.
That's correct.
Right now.
And here's a good example of what the software actually looks like. That black and white stuff coming down is data.
So that's what data looks like when it's part of the TV signal.
That's right.
All right, now how do I know over here on my PC something's happening?
Well, you can look right up here on the yellow bar, and you can see that we're 65, 66% downloaded now. We can see that we're receiving data over here with the green arrow. And when it's over, we'll be all set. I'm just going to go ahead and stop that tape. And we can actually come in here now and look at what's here. And we, in fact, have Microsoft Publisher Demo. We can open that thing up, and it will decompress because it does come in compressed. And now we can play with that software for as long as we want.
So in those 15 seconds, you fed me this whole demo copy of Publisher, which was how big a file?
That's correct. It was almost a 4 megabyte file.
Wow. And it's here on my hard drive, and I can now go play with it.
That's absolutely right. And in fact, because we can send down the full demo version, we can also send down a full working version of the software also in a locked format and actually have a transaction.
That is really cool. Wayne, thank you very much. All right,
So a couple of things jumped out probably at you. 4 megabytes was a big deal, but the basic concept there where you're watching a television stream and data can be transmitted at the same time is pretty interesting. And I watched that and I thought to myself, well, here we are. What is this show right now? It's transmitting to you as a data stream, but yet we don't really take advantage of that. Like, it seems like, wouldn't it be cool, like, say, during the Linux Action Show, if there could be an opt-in flag you could put in your stream where when I mention, like, one of our app picks, your player would automatically download it in the background to your hard drive? That just would be so cool. Like, it could be abused, but if it was a trusted source, I just watched that and I think, in some ways, they were so impressed by the novelty of what they could do, make a modem out of TV signals with TV signals, and yet now here we are, so far beyond what they ever could have done, and we don't take advantage of it. We just send you a video signal. I thought that was kind of interesting, and I've never seen that. Have you guys, anybody ever seen anything like that? I've never seen that as a product.
No, I was surprised when they had the program being downloaded, like, you could actually use that?
Yeah. 4 megabytes, and it was all of Publisher. I mean, it was compressed, but geez.
Yeah, in the UK, though, we did have something very similar. It used to, like teletext, it had news and information that was encoded into the TV signal and was specifically used for, like, subtitles for TV programs.
Right, yeah, we do some of that here, too, yeah. They're very good. That's a good point. And Imacon points out, it's not that funny when you think about the fact that we transmit full HD signals over the air. I wonder why we never took advantage of it now, and even now. Seems like it would be a great way to have internet everywhere. Anywhere that has an analog TV signal, which is quite a bit more places than have Wi-Fi. So anyways, and if anybody knows...
There's some kind of not a bill or anything, but there are people who are trying to lobby to get the old analog signals to be reconverted into something else.
Yeah, it's been going around for a long time. But if anybody has any info on that product, if you wouldn't mind linking it to techtalktoday.reddit.com, I would appreciate that. I would like to learn more about that. Okay, so now we're going to transition to another retro story that, in a way, is interesting to look back at all of the Sony entertainment hacking stuff that's been going on. Well, back in 1991... the concept that you would secure your computer after connecting to a network, well, it was still, like, people were still trying to advocate that. Because a lot of people thought, well, no, it's about spreading information, it's about getting access to everything. And there was almost a campaign by some to get people to try to secure their networks. Well, I think this guy's name is Cliff Stoll, I think is how you pronounce it. And he was one of the first to publicly track down a hacker that was on the other end of the world and write a book about it and make a really big deal about networked security. And you could kind of consider him the proto-Brian Krebs or some of those people in that era that now report about it as their mainstay. He did this a long time ago and sort of got famous for it. And I think he was an astronomer, too. So this clip tells us a little bit about one of the first cyber war reporters.
Thanks very much. Well, perhaps no single person has publicized the problems of global network security more than Cliff Stoll, author of the best-selling book Cuckoo's Egg, about his effort to track down a network intruder. We visited Cliff at his home here in Berkeley, California.
4 years after he uncovered a ring of German hackers, Cliff Stoll says he is still busy answering letters and giving speeches on computer security. The international computer break-in he discovered at the Lawrence Berkeley lab, he says, has continued to have a profound effect on the industry.
People are auditing their computers more often. They're watching to make sure that their systems aren't left wide open. They check their balances more often. And they're also more aware and more worried about things like viruses and outsiders breaking in. People back up their data more often now than they used to.
The German hacker Cliff tracked down used the Berkeley system as a hub to reach other computers across the United States, including those of the military. Of the 450 he attacked, he successfully entered more than 30. Cliff says the network administrators were not doing their job.
This hacker was able to get into the systems not because the systems were themselves insecure. He was able to get in because nobody was watching their own computers. They would connect their computers to a network and never bother to think about security. They'd say, oh, we're on the network, it's useful, we can send mail all over the place. But they never realized that although they could get out from their computers, other people could get in.
Any system, unless it is totally isolated, can be penetrated. But the answer does not lie in securing the network, Cliff says. Rather, much like houses in a city, each individual unit needs to be protected, not the pathway leading to that unit. The data contained in that computer can then be safeguarded by encryption.
I suspect we're going to find more and more people worried about how can I encrypt my data? How can I encode my data so that others can't read it, except for the one person who wants to see it?
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Susan Chase.
Yeah, so Cliff is a pretty interesting guy, and I have a link to information about his book in the show notes. So if you want to check that out, that'll be in there. And it might be make for some good reading, especially compared to the environment that we find ourselves in now. And you can see how he's kind of advocating, hey, look, you got to think about this. When you network this stuff, that's a foregone conclusion now. Doesn't mean still today we don't get it right, obviously. Hello, Sony. Go watch some Computer Chronicles. But you could see the mindset. When I, in the late 90s, started doing IT work for a school district, I've probably told this story before, but every device got a 169.204.something.something address on the public internet. 169.204, and I think they had like 112 all the way up to, I think, 117. I mean, they had a huge range of IP addresses that they just would just manually assign to even the printers. They had an HP LaserJet on the public internet. And their logic for it is the TCP/IP network protocol is used to connect humanity, essentially. And they were an educational facility. And IPX and NetBEUI all used locally to facilitate local private communication. So you'd have your network exposed to the outside world because internal communication was supposedly done on protocols that didn't route. And that was the logic. So that was pretty interesting to look back at that. It made me think of that. Any thoughts, guys, before we move on? No. Okay. I assume you liked it, though. All right. Well, then we'll wrap up there. So if you wouldn't mind, head over to techtalktoday.reddit.com and help us pick out some great stories as we go through the holiday lull. Now, remember, Tech Talk Today is off on Monday. It's Tuesday through Friday now, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, jblive.tv. Next week is our last week before the holiday break. And I'm considering taking off until the 31st for Tech Talk. I haven't talked to the boss lady about that yet. So don't say anything. That's our little secret, okay? Yeah, so definitely this is next week. We'll start 16th through the 19th and then be off until at least after the holidays, which is probably good because the news is probably going to be pretty slow. Okay, yeah, so go check out Cliff's information in the show notes. Patreon.com/today is where you go to support this show and the entire Jupiter Broadcasting Network. We got some more stuff coming there for you very soon. And now, as we go, instead of me playing an old commercial, why don't we take some random headlines from that same Computer Chronicles that they talked about the TV signal modem. And I hope some of you are watching on video because there is some great classic laptop porn in this clip. So thank you for joining me for the week of Tech Talk today. See you back here on Tuesday. Linux Action Show coming up on Sunday with a Fedora Roundtable. So join us for that. And a really big Tech Talk went out earlier, or late last night, early this morning, depending on your location. So lots of good content to see you through the weekend. Thanks for joining me, everybody. See you back here on Tuesday.
In the Random Access file this week, get ready for Nashville. That's the Microsoft code name for Windows 96. According to InfoWorld, Microsoft has begun sending out non-disclosures to beta testers for the newest version of 32-bit Windows. No word on when Microsoft plans to launch Windows 96, though next year would be a good guess. Microsoft has announced price cuts on its home software line by as much as 45%. Prices dropped on more than 40 consumer titles. Microsoft calls the change an effort to attract new computer users, while analysts see it as evidence of increased competition in the crowded consumer software field. If you've been slowed down by the Windows 95 16-bit printing subsystem, Xenographics has announced a 32-bit printing utility to replace it. Called SuperPrint 4.0, the utility accelerates printing speed, smooths multitasking, and adds internet printing capabilities. Intel has conducted the first-ever demonstration of mobile personal conferencing using a Pentium laptop equipped with a cellular modem.
Hello, Winston. Wave to the audience so they know that you are alive. That's very good.
IBM has introduced two new models of its popular ThinkPad notebook computer. The new 760 series features a 12-inch color display, a new tilt-up keyboard, and a Pentium processor. The new notebook PCs also include an LCD display on the keyboard to give users a constant readout of battery life. Compaq has started shipping its new LTE 5000 notebook computer. The LTE is modular, allowing users to select which peripherals go into the expansion bays. You can insert either an extra hard drive, a CD-ROM player, or other peripherals. Hewlett-Packard has introduced a new color printer which doubles as a color copy machine. The new CopyJet color printer copier uses inkjet cartridges for 300 dpi color output. The CopyJet also features digital color imaging technology. The price will be around $2,500. And finally, CompuServe will start carrying advertising beginning this month. The ads will be seen as selectable icons on online menus. Users will need to select the icon link to see what the sponsors have to say. That's it for this week's Random Access. Back to you, Stuart.